the topic of the day. No, I'm
The
just
one thing
kidding.
that troubles everyone's life
I'm
eventually.
laughing because like every time someone comes to me, I'm like 99% this person is sadesati because I end up attracting people who are in their peak sadesati. We've made jokes about that. That
मोस्ट
every
पीपल वो होता है ना, आप जवाब तब मांगते हो जब आप दिक्कत में आ जाओ. साढ़े सात ही brings your troubles to the fore, shows you
yeah,
what's wrong. Now you want answers for it. So peak
yeah.
साढ़े सात period, like you've written, special case. Yeah.
So you tell me a little bit. I mean, okay, just to
What I
give
felt.
context to people, a peak sadesati is when your Saturn is transiting your natal moon. Okay, where your
Yes.
natal moon placement is. So Akash, go ahead. You share your notes.
Now, what do we know with moon? Moon is emotion, right? Moon is how you feel, है ना? हमने कहा मानस, मन.
Huh.
मन, आप क्या महसूस करते हो किसी चीज को देख के? That is moon.
Hmm.
And Saturn is this dryness. Saturn is this sobriety. Okay. Now Saturn is going over moon. It's going to dry your emotions up. Okay. Moon also shows your emotional dependencies. आप किस चीज पर emotionally depend कर सकते हो?
Hmm.
Looking at the bhav of the moon, we very often judge this person emotionally seeks some dependency over here. Is emotionally connected over here. Right? Like
Hmm.
someone has second bhav moon, they're connected to their family. और उनकी साढ़े साथी में उनके परिवार के साथ कुछ हो जाएगा या वो परिवार से दूर हो जाते हैं. That is what Shani Dev does. He deprives you of what you are most emotionally dependent on. Now, this could be for a good reason too. All right, that is a different matter. But peak
Hmm.
Sade Sati period emotionally dries up the person. And this happens because outside environment, okay,
Hmm.
you will see a lot of coldness in your life from the outside environment when you are in peak Sade Sati. Okay, peak
Hmm.
Sade Sati develops you into an individual, is what I've seen a lot. It also depends on which sadesati it is. It could be the first, it could be the second. So in the first situations are more emotionally challenging. That's a tougher one when Saturn goes over the moon and it's your first sadesati.
Hmm.
In the second round, it's more social trouble. So Saturn sort of deprives you of moon things in your social life. Maybe you get
Hmm.
entertainment or you get good emotional input from people around you. And suddenly the same people,
Hmm.
they give you coldness emotionally. When you go to them for the same things you used to before, they do not deliver. You have to remember Saturn is trying to teach you something. So most
Hmm.
of the time, people get very mentally disturbed because
Hmm.
they are witnessing a drying up of their own emotional tendencies. And now they
Hmm.
start feeling odd about it because what was giving them some simulation before, what was making them feel happy before, is now not in the picture, not making them feel the same way. So
Yeah.
some, and moon is very chanchal. You read the stories, Somdev thoda tede kaam kar.
Hmm.
And Shani Dev don't like that. Okay. So whatever hidden tendency a person could have can be brought out to the fore during this period and the person can be tested for it. That is what sadesati.
Also, Moon is very creative, and Saturn is very like follow this rigid path.
Saturn is
And
rule
I mean,
oriented ना, rules. And moon is like जब मेरे मन में आएगा मैं करूंगा. तो ये वो दौर है जब आपके मन की नहीं चलने वाली. और वो किसको अच्छा लगता है ना?
hmm.
Nobody likes that. Except for people who are born with a Saturn Moon conjunction, they will thrive during their Sadesati. They'll be like, nah, that's what I'm talking about. It's just the same energy I have. So they will also be troubled. Now remember that because Saturn is passing over the moon. But since
Hmm.
they are born with that vibration, it is easy for them to handle it when Sadesati comes and they actually take it and thrive. Whereas a person who's got moon alone, and another factor, there are no planets before or after the moon is alone. That is the most troublesome situation when Sadesati comes like that. It's helpful to have energies before and after moon because it shows some degree of support to the mind,
Hmm. In
even if it's
fighting it out. Hmm.
even if it's malefics, because the person will have gone through certain vibration and felt a Saturnian effect before. The mind can be prepared. But when it comes like this, it's like you did not see it coming.
Hmm.
And then suddenly this drying up starts to happen in your life. Like I know a case where I saw seventh house sadhya. And it's a very genuine human being, right? They are not a troublesome person at all. But साढ़े साथी तो सबके आनी है. किसी ना किसी को कहीं ना कहीं भुगतना है. So this person is having troubles in their relation, in their marriage. And the marriage is fine. There's nothing wrong. But just a little bit of distance between them and their partner, which had to happen because this person was really dependent on their partner emotionally. It was a good relation. See, that's a
Hmm.
good placement to have that in the seventh house. But Saturn's going through there. He's going to do his job, Shanidev. And his job is to make you very, very sober. So this person
Mm.
has to learn to be very independent because they've been depending on their partner for a long time. So Shanidev is going to take their partner away or make the partner give them a little coldness so that this person learns to manage their relation or their relationships better. So nothing wrong
Mm.
here, right? Just a small harsh lesson and a little distance from the partner. Now, if the case was too bad, the person would have split. So
Mm.
this is what Saturn does. It does give you certain level of mental affliction, but it is for important. It is for a reason. And well, चंद्र है हमारे मन में, हमारा मन में जो वासनाएं हैं, जो वृत्तियां हैं, शनिदेव उनको खींचकर बाहर लाएंगे और सुधारेंगे. He will
Mm.
bring the control. So it is a tough period for people, especially people who have a very strong moon. बड़ा चंचल मन है ना जिनका, थोड़ा सा रोना पड़ जाता है. So it helps if the person is a bit serious and they know when sadesati is going to come in life. Okay,
Mm.
so they can sober up beforehand, and that Saturnian effect they will already be familiar with it. So the sadesati is not as tough.
Mm. Yeah, makes sense. Just want to add a little bit on the sadesati. I think mostly you've covered, but Ashtam Shani, because I've been a case study of that. One, of course, it's my
That's a
birth
very
placement.
special thing.
It's also my birth placement. It's also Bill Gates' birth placement, if that matters. But
Yeah,
also
it
that when
is.
it happened, I had the highest. Okay, so there was one thing. One is the Ashtam Shani, but second
Mm,
is I was in my Saturn Mahadasha Ketu Antardasha. They
mm,
happened together. So that 21 to the 21 to 2022 wala period, the post COVID, but COVID had not fully gone that period. Like
mm.
like it was the most
You're
challenging for me.
completely right. Completely right.
And people,
एक तो अष्टम शनि है. Now remember, any
and Saturn
how
return.
consider
I
that.
had Saturn return, Ashtam Shani, and Saturn Ketu Mahadasha
Okay, okay,
Antardasha going on.
that's a triple whammy. There you go. Triple, one, two, three. Triple the
No.
intense. So I was saying, okay, let's take it very fundamentally. Look, Ashtama Shan, correct?
Hmm.
There are two Ashtamshas I have seen. I've seen Lagan Ashtamsha, but Chandra Ashtamsha is heavier. Saturn will affect you psychologically and emotionally, and not as much physically. So whenever I see Saturn eighth from Moon, now you got to understand Moon से eighth क्या है उसका बदलाव. Yeah, the transformation.
Yeah.
Moon goes to the eighth to die, is what we say sometimes. क्योंकि Moon is not used to that going in that corner, and Moon
Yeah.
already travels so fast, and eighth is a house of sudden things, sudden revelations, and these things are hidden. Correct. So when I've seen Moon say eighth में Saturn, something is hidden to the person, or they don't find it easy to change their mindset. Okay? Remember, Saturn's gonna block things there.
Yeah, yeah.
Very fast. अब मन की तो नेचुरल टेंडेंसी है, बड़ी जल्दी बदलता है. अभी यहाँ बैठा हूँ, अभी लंदन चले जाऊंगा. That's my mind. Close my
Hmm.
eyes, I'm in London. Close my eyes, I'm in Barcelona. All right.
Hmm.
That's how the mind works. It can go places in seconds.
Hmm.
With a person who's got Shani, Ashtam to the moon, is not going to go places very easily.
Hmm.
Okay. Shani is sort of going to block the imagination from or the thought process from changing very easily. Now, some people can easily live with this, is what I've seen. They can have be very adamant and strict, and it will suit them to not change their mind so easily. But जिसका मन बहुत चंचल है, let's say they have a very चंचल mind, ठीक है ना? तो वो कैसा होता है? चंचल मन कैसा है? अभी ये सोच रहा है, अगले मिनट वो सोचेगा, अगले मिनट वो सोचेगा. It's very hard for चंचल मन to meditate, ना?
Of course, I know. I have a
So
Gemini.
the Ashtam Shani is going to make it hard to drop that chanchalta. It's suddenly a brick wall is going to give that person where they feel कि I gotta be sober. I gotta stop right here. मुझे रुकना पड़ेगा. It's sort of hard for them to change the way they feel sometimes or to cope up with that sudden change. And that change is there. Shani there shows certain activity. Okay. And moon the mind whenever the mind is trying to change itself, there are restrictions. Okay.
Yeah. Frozen lake. Like it's a frozen lake. Like nothing moves.
But I won't say it's bad. And transit Ashtam Shani is different, and Lagan Ashtam Shani is different. Okay, I still feel the Lagan case is a more of a, it becomes a behavior and person's. But when the transit things happen, you're doing something in life, your mind is going a certain way, and suddenly you hit this brick wall,
Hmm.
and you feel your life's not changing. You feel emotionally stuck. That is what Ashtama Shani can do Ashtam to the moon. When it's Lagan Ashtamsha, the implications are different. Very often I've seen people are trying to change things in their life for the better, and it sort of gets stuck. Okay. And a lot of things come out to the fore, a lot of things are revealed to them. That, of course, depends on the individual's placements and their
But
chart.
there is still a mental health challenge. I'm saying that's why I've brought this
Major,
up.
major issues can happen during this time because it depends on what kind of a mind you have.
Yeah.
और अगर आपका मन थोड़ा भी कमजोर हो गया इस टाइम में तो you will be very very stuck and you will
Mm.
feel very times I've seen people get suicidal thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
That also happens in sadesati when the emotional deprivation occurs because it's not very familiar for everyone.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
Ashtam Shani is
sadesati also. Especially for people who've not seen a Saturn Mahadasha or not seen any Saturnian effect, and suddenly if sadesati drops.
one thing you mentioned was very very peculiar over here. I want to bring that up again. Let's say someone's in sadesati and Saturn-Moon period happens. All right, that's a double impact.
What do you mean Saturn Moon period? You mean Ashtam, sadesati and Ashtam?
No. Sadesati is going on by transit
Hmm.
and the Shani Mahadasha is on
Okay.
and
Hmm.
उसमें चंद्र की अंतरदशा में साढ़े की पीक आ जाए. God help the person. Shanidev be kind. Don't want to scare anyone, but it's a very tough
It
situation.
is a
I
tough one.
went with it myself when I was in Sadesati, but I was in my Mangal Shani period. Okay?
Yeah.
Saturn
और
going
I have seen कि मून की महादशा चल रही है and Saturn या केतु का पीरियड आता है,
sort of the
fully
same thing.
knocked off. Yeah,
Very,
again.
very very, very troublesome. And like all the planets we mentioned, so if Moon, Rahu periods come, Moon, Saturn periods, Moon, Ketu periods, they're a bit harsh on the person. They're tough to survive.
Hmm. And just one last thing I want to take Jupiter and Saturn conjunction in 12th house.
Hmm.
I feel like that is also, sorry, that is also not a good I'm sorry. That is also not a good combination for brain. It leads to brain diseases or disorders. या जैसे मैंने Parkinson's और Alzheimer's देखा है end में. Like,
Possibly, बिल्कुल 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 12th house is your imagination, है ना?
हाँ, imagination and
Also
also
shows a
sleep
great degree of
quality.
isolation. The 12th house shows how a person can be isolated or how they like to isolate, right? Though Guru Shani in the 12th can make a very brilliant career, maybe abroad or maybe for working for, foreigners or working with clients who live abroad or, someone who just locks themselves in a room and works from home.
Hmm.
And they could be very, very good at that. But you are right, isolation to a great degree can happen. It's a very big major yoke, the two of the largest planets combined.
Yeah. But
So,
I was also saying in the way that because the quality of sleep and quality of imagination, quality
oh,
of
that's
dreams, everything is
now that
affected, there
depends
can
a
be a
lot on the
nervous.
signage. You're correct. Depends a lot on the signage as well. And yeah, the sleep's gonna be hampered. This guy could be working at night, or when they try to go to bed, the kind of thoughts they get are not very wholesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the sleep is so important for the gene. Na? Agar sleep is affected throughout your life, you're going to already have a very shorter lifespan because you're not
Yeah.
recovering, the body's not
The
rejuvenating.
recovery of the cells happens when you sleep, of course. And now the person is not recovering, like you said.
And which is why I said diseases like Parkinson or Alzheimer's, they're all degenerative in nature, like
Yeah.
they're
Very
aging
well said.
disease.
Yeah. The degenerative diseases, and it's possible that they happen through combinations like
Yeah.
these.
Yeah. So I mean, we've done quite a bit of discussion on this. Like, what would you say would be the remedies? And maybe they're different for different examples we've
They're different.
taken,
Yeah.
but still, like, what's
Now,
the hope here?
I'll say very, very easily for Moon Saturn because I have dealt with it a lot personally in my life. I've seen a lot of people with Saturn combination. Like I said, they don't speak up about their emotions. So don't speak. Mat bolo. Likho. Write it. The moment this person feels something in their head, I told you it's a very narrow mind. वो बात चलती रहती है.
Hmm.
Write it down. Get it out of the head. Or go to the first person you trust. Speak it to them. बोल दो उस चीज को. Moon Saturn, very simple. They need to communicate and they can be
Hmm.
okay. All right. Very simple remedy for these guys. So they can start maintaining a journal or they can start speaking out to someone. Maybe if look for a therapist. Therapy really helps Moonset.
Hmm.
And they're able to convey whatever emotion they have or what's going on in their mind and it gets cleared out. Their head feels empty and they feel okay. Ketu, let's go. Now, Moon Ketu people, you have to remember Moon is your home as well. घर में कैसा लगा? If I look at the Karaka, that was and eventually how comfortable you are. Now you got Ketu over here. Okay. A lot of the times I get these combinations, I say to the person, number one, this person should meditate. Okay. They can
Hmm.
have a very Vairagi kind of mind. They have very intuitive powers, really depending on the house. Good
Hmm.
abilities come to a Ketu person. They need to be near a water body. That deprivation of moon will be fixed and it will really soothe them. मन का उतार चढ़ाव नहीं. Un Ketu needs to live near a river or where
Hmm.
water flows, pani
Or
behta.
nature also, I feel nature is.
But more with water is I have seen with the remedy. But yeah, you are
Hmm.
right. Natural settings will suit them more. If this person is in a city, इनको बहुत परेशानी होगी. They come to, they'll always be feeling odd. Frustration can creep.
Hmm.
And if they go next to a flowing river, सुंदर सी पानी की आवाज आ रही है बहते हुए, that really acts as a remedy for this person.
And someone having afflicted moon and Mercury, like conjunction नहीं है, but like आगे पीछे there are afflicted
So
planets.
now with afflicted Mercury, you might see the person doesn't speak properly, he speaks too much. Okay. And there are some good Ayurvedic remedies for this kind of an issue, Moon and Mercury. But I have seen in general a tendency to be, well, if Moon and Mercury are conjunct, I see people be overexcited, overexpressive. They get very childish in that. And what this person needs to do is sit down and get tired. It's a high energy combination. So I would say they need to get some dynamic exercise. Okay. And they can easily stimulate the Moon Mercury combination. The Moon Mercury combination is not bad. But it can in certain positions. Okay, I did not want to say that, but it can give a person very odd kind of sexuality. It can also make the person over expressive. It can make them seem very immature to this person in front of them. They need to isolate, take some time with themselves, talk to themselves. Don't over communicate outside. Take that voice and listen to the inner voice. अंदर से बात करो, है ना? So these people need to spend some time with themselves. इस चीज की कमी है. मून केतु wants too much time for themselves, जैसे मैं पहले कह रहा था. So
Hmm.
if they want that isolation, they can go near waters, they can go into nature, like you said. Moon, Saturn, the only problem is they don't communicate, they're a bit narrow-minded. So talk, meet new people.
Hmm.
Don't always look to isolate. So these are some things one can do. All right, another combination I forgot was Moon Rahu.
हाँ, we
And
had discussed it in the addiction video. That's why I didn't bring it up. But go ahead.
but with the Moon Rahu also there are some mental afflictions. Moon Rahu people, they, they're hoarders. इनकी गाड़ी देख लेना, इनके कमरे देखना, कपड़े पड़े रहते हैं, the cars chock full of things. They got shoes in their car, they got a suit in their car, they got so many papers in their cars. These people need to organize, stack हर चीज को
Or
समय.
declutter.
बिल्कुल. एंड declutter, like you said, do not collect items too much. But ये इनकी टेंडेंसी है, ये खाने की चीजें भी स्टोर करेंगे. They like to collect food items is what. And they would like to collect things which store, जैसे डब्बों का कलेक्शन बना लेंगे.
Hmm.
Okay. And they don't even know what they will keep in these boxes. This sort of shows some obsession in the brain. Okay. It can be good or bad, but I've seen it be bad. Not bad for them, but for people around. And it
Hmm.
creates a very big clutter in front of their eyes if you keep so many things. So, like you said, decluttering becomes the remedy over here. सामने clarity दिखेगी तो mind में वो patterns repeat होते हैं. The moon is very impressionable. So you give it these good impressions as remedies and it turns out very well for the person.
Hmm. Got it. Yeah, if they can control, like, I feel Moon Rahu is great for traveling and innovation because imaginative mind, na, if someone wants to do any technological innovation, Rahu
Uh,
is tech and Moon is imagination and thinking, and imagine the amount of power this person can have अगर वो
which is
अपनी
if
वृत्तियां मैनेज कर ले.
channeled correctly, can lead to some solid emotions, but an excess, an amplification of certain emotions. कभी कभी over emotional बना देगा. So, like I said, some structure in the person maybe can control all of these things. And like you said, a good direction, just a tech, it's a very Rahuvian thing. So, usme this person can maybe find some solace.
Awesome, sounds good. Is there any closing thoughts before we wind up? I think
I
we covered maximum of the
covered most
gambit
of
with
the
you.
stuff.
Yeah.
But I will say one thing. इंसान के हाथ में एक ही चीज होती है. ओके. हमारे कंट्रोल में बस हमारा मन. हमारा मन हमें काबू नहीं करता, हम अपने मन को काबू करते हैं, है ना। और मन ही एक चीज है जिस पे हमारा कंट्रोल है, और कुछ हमारे काबू में नहीं है। ना आप सामने वाले को काबू कर सकते हो, जीवन में आने वाली परिस्थितियां आपको पता नहीं, आप नहीं जानते भविष्य में क्या होगा। आप
हम्म।
बस और बस एक ही चीज पे काबू रखते हो, आपको कैसा महसूस होगा वो हमेशा आपके हाथ में, है ना। तो
True.
आपका मेंटल स्टेसिस और आपकी सेहत आपके हाथ में ही होती है एक्चुअली। और बहुत मेहनत के जरिए अपने मन पर काबू पाया जा सकता है। मन में बस पैटर्न्स होते हैं, रेपिटेशंस होती हैं, जो बहुत बड़े बिहेवियर्स बन जाते हैं। मैं मानता हूँ कुछ लोगों के लिए इट इज अ वेरी बिग चैलेंज एंड दे हैव डिसऑर्डर्स। ऑफ कोर्स वी हैव science and we have medical sciences, we have yoga, we have multiple things to work for that. But the person needs to have good sankalp. They got to be adamant, they've got to be persistent, and they can control their mind. मन जो होता है ना, वो लाया ऑफ से आया है। When we were doing our astrology lessons, I said मन जो है सांड की तरफ है। और सांड क्या करता है, खेत में उसे खुला छोड़ते हैं तो वो भाग जाता है और तबाही कर देता है, सारे खेत को बर्बाद करता है। अपन क्या करते हैं फिर, एक डंडा लाते हैं, उसको गाड़ देते हैं और सांड को उस पर बांध देंगे। अब क्या हुआ, ये जो मन है सांड, इसका एक दायरा बन गया। अब ये सांड इस दायरे से बाहर नहीं जाएगा तो कुछ हेल्टर स्केल्टर नहीं बन पाएगा। दैट इज हाउ आवर माइंड इज, इट रन्स टू प्लेसेस एंड इट रूइंस
Mm.
थिंग्स। So we've got this, we got to get this stick for ourselves. We've got to have discipline and determination, and you can really control an afflicted mind, or at least restrict it to a level where it does not damage
Yeah, yeah, that's really you well said. That's true. And just like for me, on closing note, the learning from all these difficult periods I've had, that some of them we've discussed today, was the understanding that you're not your mind.
you.
Your
Exactly.
mind is a different entity, and I am who I am. And whenever then a thought comes, I'm like, but that's not who I am, and I can easily discard it. Versus if you're so identified with your mind being you,
Exactly. If your
you'll start.
emotions is what you think you are, then you've already given the mind an upper hand and is gonna take you on a ride. है ना?
Yeah. And so,
That's
like,
very, very good.
if people can come to a place where you have your mind, you're not your mind, so there is a mind, think of it like a box. You want to use it, you put it, do your stuff, and keep it aside when you
Keep it
don't
back.
need it. Yeah,
Perfect,
like,
perfectly well said. This is very good. This is what yogis do. So, chit, like I talked about chit, you are completely correct. Chit में mind है, बुद्धि है, मानस, बुद्धि और अहंकार। चित क्या है? चित is reflecting the light of the soul, अंतरात्मा, which is actually what we are. Like you said it very, very well. We are not the mind. We are the soul inside. The mind is a reflection of the patterns that have, or the waves that have come with the soul. But it is not what we are. Okay, it's a part, but it's not what we are. So we can control it. Very, very well said. Yeah.
control or just leave it aside, and
You
when
know,
you don't
suppress it. I mean,
just,
to each his own. जिसको जो करके अच्छा लगता है ना?
yeah. Anyway,
So
on
just
that note, I think this was wonderful. We should do a few more sessions like these, but for now, thank you so much.